I'm going to get started. Hey guys, this is Carolyn Cope from Bridge Marketing. Hope you are doing well. Happy Friday, and thank you so much for being on the call. I really appreciate your time. What I talk about today for about 10 to 15 minutes is basically just a recap of what we covered yesterday on the AE training call. I spent about an hour going through some new changes and updates that we are rolling out at the start of the year. And I think all of the changes are going to be really positive. The reason why we made the changes in the first place is basically to improve some of what we experienced last quarter. And we heard feedback from a lot of the markets. A lot of the feedback was really positive, so we really appreciate how much you guys enjoy working with us and how much you believe in the product of people-based marketing. But we also heard some of your constructive feedback on how we can make improvements to make the lives easier for the AEs, to make inserting orders a lot easier, to improve the workflow and get campaigns launched faster and more efficiently on our end, and of course to maximize performance and eliminate error. So I may have been a little bit overwhelming for some of the sellers, but it's really pretty simple. I think once they start doing a few of the insertion orders and once they get their first one under the belt, it'll be very smooth moving forward. So basically, a summary of the changes that I discussed on yesterday's call is an updated Cumulus portal, which has been redesigned to be basically a one-stop shop for anything that they might need, which I will show you in just a minute. We have new insertion orders. We have a few new policies, a new creative policy and a rush campaign policy, and then I just reviewed the turnaround time. So first thing covered was the new updated portal. If you don't have the URL to access the portal, it's right here on the slide. There is a password that you may have to enter from time to time just to help protect Cumulus from any other marketing company having access to this. It's Cumulus123, all lowercase. Now moving forward, you can use the portal to do things like request proposals, get creative, request audience count. If you request a screen share or a conference call with me so that I get on the phone and help seller pitch the product to a client, you can request that through the portal, and you can now submit your orders through the portal. So once you set the new insertion order, you can upload it straight from the portal. So the reason behind this was just to help alleviate any confusion that the sellers might have. We heard some of the markets tell us last quarter that people got confused about who they were supposed to reach out to for what, and they were confused about, you know, do they email me, do they email Nico, Daniel, Chris, Michael, Otto. There were a lot of people involved on the bridge side. So they portal for everything, and I will show you real quick what it looks like. Okay, if you log into the portal, this is what you're going to see. And basically, everything that you might need is in this navy blue bar right here. If there's any resources like case studies or examples or collateral, you can click on the resources button. If you submit an order, you click on the new order button. This section where you basically just put in your email address and your name so we know who to reach out to if we have questions, what market you work in, and then upload the insertion orders right from your computer. Click, and then get an email confirmation with a thank you so that you'll know that your order was submitted and it was received by our operations team. Need a request, so if you want to do a proposal, if you need us to design creative for you, like an email or any banner ads, if you want to request a screen share meeting or get audience count, you can do all of that from here. And there's a menu on the left. Just click on the one you need, type the nation, and then every form, there's a submit button. You just click that again. For all of these things, you'll get a thank you confirmation via email so that you had it on record that it did go through and it was received, and we'll get back to you as quick as possible, whatever it is that you need. Okay. Next was the new insertion order, and this was probably the thing that I guess was maybe the most overwhelming, and I totally understand that. It does seem we're asking a lot of questions, the insertion orders, but honestly, I think if you just fill it out 1 or 2 times, it should flow very smoothly, and you'll find it to be very simple. And the reason why we redid these was because a lot of the markets were telling us that we didn't have the information on the insertion order. So maybe people didn't even realize that they could request certain types of reporting that need to be set up at the very start of the campaign. So what we were finding was at the end of the campaign, people were asking for the reports, and by then it was too late. I basically just added more information in terms of the report options that are available. I tried to reword some of the other questions so that they are more understandable for the sellers, so that they can give us all the information we need when we are executing and building out the campaigns. Because the more information we have from the beginning, the faster we'll be able to turn the campaign around and get it launched. So quickly what one looks like. I won't fill it out just for time's sake, but let me show you, for example, the new email launch form. Okay, email insertion order. So there's 3 different insertion orders. There's one for email, one for multi-channel, and then one for any other display or banner ad campaign. So the difference between a multi-channel insertion order and the display insertion order, you always want to remember that multi-channel is targeting our database of consumers. So the email multi-channel is part of the people-based marketing database, and the other IO for display and banner ads, that's stuff that is not related to our database. So things like keyword search targeting, behavioral targeting, geofencing, contextual targeting, all of those would be on the display insertion order. So it's very simple. Basically, we ask all of the questions in column B, you type in your answer in column C, and the top section is very basic information. Start date, the end date, point of contact, name of the advertiser, email details, so just give the date you want it to deploy, the click-through URL, who the email is from, the subject line, section for additional options, and then the reporting. Additional options basically say, will the email include personalization? So common form of personalization is if you put the recipient's name in the actual subject line. I recommend doing that as often as you possibly can. But basically just give us the details here, and then your reporting preferences. All of the reports that are available for an email campaign, and you basically just type in yes or no to whichever ones you want, and we'll get it set up, get it launched, and we're good to go. All of the new insertion orders are available on your Dropbox folders, or in the Dropbox. So they're all the click-through URLs to access those. If you somehow can't get access to them, just an email to Tiffany or myself, and we are happy to send them over to you. Okay, next thing we talked about was the new creative policy. What we noticed was really slowing down launch times and really delaying the execution process was the back and forth creative that we were doing with the AE or with the client. So in my opinion, there's really no reason why we would have to create more than 4 proofs. So we created this policy to encourage the salespeople to set the right expectation with their client. We're talking about the execution process, and we're telling them that, okay, customer, we're going to send you a proof. We need to also tell them, you give us all of your creative edits or any changes all at once. Tell us everything you want us to change at once and make the changes and send a revised proof. We really want to try to avoid going back and forth dozens of times with tiny little edits each time. So just we're getting the sellers in the habit of getting information and all the feedback from their client at once and then submit all of those in the same email or the same edit request. So we will send a proof to AE after they have any edit requests. We will send a second proof. Then they have their opportunity to request any edit. We will third proof and then a fourth proof. After the fourth proof, if more requests are required and more proofs to be created, we'll start charging $75 per additional proof. And 1 through 4 is free or included in the creative fee, but after the fourth proof, there's going to be an additional fee. So I totally understand the sense of urgency that the sellers have. I know that they're just trying to get things done for their clients, and it's important that we are making our clients feel like they are important, so we're hustling. But at the time, digital is very different from radio in a sense that it does take a little more time to execute a campaign. There's just more steps involved. And a lot of it, believe it or not, depends on the client. So, you know, the proof requests and how many proofs we have to create, that's something that's very time consuming. If social media is included in the campaign, that's also time consuming because we need the client to give us permission to advertise on their behalf on social media. If there are pixels we need to place to help track the performance of the campaign, we also need to wait on the client to place those pixels on their website. So there's a lot more involved in executing a campaign, and that's why we can't always launch a campaign the same or the next day. So it's really important that if we're designing the creative and the campaign has to go live in less than 3 days, will be a rush fee because we're basically going to have to make that one campaign the big priority, and everybody's going to have to hustle on the bridge side to get that launched, and it's going to be very difficult to do. If a client is providing creative and it has to go live in 2 days or less, it's going to have a rush fee. So the purpose of this is to just encourage your sellers to set right expectation with the client and tell them up front, the campaign is going to take 3 to 5 days to execute. So please do not expect it to go live tomorrow. It's just possible. So please keep in mind moving forward. And then quick, we just had a couple reminders. I think there's some confusion in the remail and what a remail actually is. Is if we are deploying a second or third or fourth email using the exact same creative as the first email and deploying it to the exact same audience group. Any creative changes that require us to redesign the email and then recode the email, we are going to have to consider that to be just a regular email, another email, and we are going to charge you the cost of an email, and we'll be able to charge you the discounted remail fee. So email is only if it's exactly the same creative and exactly the same audience. You can change subject line if you want to. That's totally fine because that doesn't require coding. But if we have to change the actual creative, we charge as if it's just an email going out. Reminder was about communication. We are always, always happy to get on with one of your clients as long as the AE or the manager from that Cumulus market is also on the phone. We should not be talking with your clients directly without the sales rep involved, and should not be emailing clients directly. It's really important that the Cumulus salesperson is the quarterback of the relationship, and they need to be involved along the way. So we always want the client to view the Cumulus AE as their go-to for any questions or needs, and that AE can come to us. but we should be communicating directly with Cumulus clients. The slides I have for you guys are basically just charts, so you can take a closer look at them both later on. I know Tiffany has both of them uploaded, and I have them as well, so if you want us to send it to you later, just let us know. But the chart is basically just a refresher on turnaround time. It's really helpful if the AEs have this chart so that when we are talking with clients, they know how to set the right expectations so that, again, the client is not assuming that things will be launched same day or next day. This will make it very easy for the AE to communicate to the client how long things take to execute and then when you should expect reporting after the campaign is live. And it's just an updated price chart I created. It's basically the same chart, the same rate card. The rows have not changed. All I did was I basically reorganized it so that it's a little easier to look at and understand. Also added in the new creative fee for additional proofs. I put that in at the bottom where you'll see it'll cost $75 per proof. More than 4 proofs are required. So it's the 5th proof that will have the $75 price tag. The 4th proof is included in the original $250 creative fee. Now I would like to introduce the guest speaker for today's call. This is Rob Miller from Oklahoma City. Rob, take over.
Thank you, Carolyn, very much. What I want to talk about is a campaign that we did with Bridge back starting in September, and it was with the Oklahoma Men's Clinic, who's currently one of our top advertisers on our group of radio stations, and they specialize in men who are wanting to enhance their sexual performance, and they wanted to complement their radio buy with a strong digital campaign. Now, Oklahoma Men's Clinic already incorporates digital from other companies, so we wanted to provide something that they normally were not getting from the companies they were already working with. So with the help of the people from Bridge, we designed a plan utilizing their people-based marketing concepts of using email along with desktop and mobile retargeting. Now, Oklahoma Men's Clinic has offices in Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Fayetteville, Wichita, and Joplin, Missouri. We got with our advisor, Mike Martin, and the crew from Bridge and received a combined count for those locations of just under 224,000 men who are over 40 years old with an income of $50,000 plus and live within 100 miles of each of the offices in Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Fayetteville, and Wichita. They also received a count of just under 52,000 that live within 100 miles of Joplin with same characteristics. We priced the C-mail part of the campaign at a $25 $1,000, which is quite a bit higher than what is normal. And then with a second email that went out in the same month, it was followed up 2 weeks later, and we did that at a $20 cost per 1,000. And then we followed up each time with desktop and mobile retargeting at a $12 cost per 1,000. And because we were charging a higher amount, we were able to throw in Joplin at no charge. And that was one of the things that the gentleman who runs these offices wanted, because that was kind of the carrot that made him want yes by going in Joplin at no charge. Now, the email part of the campaign, they are selling message in the part of the email, and then we also had a video that was embedded as well. Because of the HIPAA laws, we were able to take advantage of the matchback part of the campaign to check the effectiveness. So he was not able to provide to all people who had come in during the total 2-month period. Now, for the second month, we had so much success after the first month, we wanted to do some different things in addition to that. And so we then took advantage of the video pre-roll along with some native advertising, and then desktop and mobile digital ads, and we did some site retargeting as well. For the Oklahoma Men's Clinic, they were able to see a substantial increase in business over that 2 months, and very, very pleased. And right now we are putting together a campaign utilizing all of these elements used with Bridge. Now, if you back, Carolyn, to the total, we will to the first month, they spent a little over $18,000 the first month. And then in the second month, when we were doing the native advertising and the site retargeting and all of that, they spent just a little over $15,000. So here in 2 months, we did over $33,000 in business from this one account. Now, what this did for my folks and my staff was it really showed that there was some major budgets being invested in these digital campaigns, and that we should not be afraid to ask for the bigger dollars. With Bridge, once again, we were able to offer products that they could not get from the digital companies. We'll go back, Carolyn, to the results. We'll take a look here. You can see where this was just the first month right here that we're looking at. You know, there were well over 226,000 emails that went out. So, and then we look at the opens, and like little over 9% gross opens. Now, Carolyn, can you look at these numbers and tell everybody how you feel like the effectiveness went?
So, and I also want to point out something said at the very beginning, which was that Health Clinic is one of your biggest clients on radio, and they wanted to create a digital campaign to complement the radio. That's so important because advertising always complements each other, whether it's, you know, in digital, radio and TV, TV and digital, if newspaper is thrown in, if direct mail is thrown in, the more advertising that the client is doing, it's all build off each other. So this campaign was extremely successful, and I think part of it is because they're also doing a lot of radio advertising. And so I always try to encourage sellers to not think of their sales pitch as radio or digital. It works so well when it's combined into one big campaign and one big marketing strategy. So I love that this is a great success story, which shows that. And look here, so whenever I look at email reports, I always try to look at the open rate and the click-through rate. And the open rate here is 9.12 for the big campaign, and for the Joplin campaign, you had a 9.35% open rate. And we pull this report after just 5 days. So in 5 days, you had over 20,000 people open the first email, and almost 5,000 people open the email for Joplin. And the average anywhere between a 6.7% and an 8.6%. So this is way higher than average. And after just 5 days, that's awesome. That's a great result. And with the click-through rate, the average email click-through rate is a 4.19%. Here, you had 0.7%. Joplin email had a 6.53%. So that's way higher than average. So I think this campaign performed tremendously well, and I hope we turn this into a significant annual buy for Oklahoma City. I think this is fantastic.
I think one of the things, because they are such a large advertiser, that as far as the men are concerned, they already knew quite a bit about the Oklahoma Men's Clinic anyway, that once they received the email, it wasn't like we were hitting them with something new. They were already familiar. And I think that led to the higher results.
Absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely agree. We always try to include that in part of the initial Q&A. I always like to ask clients, you know, what other advertising are you doing? Are you a well-known brand? Are people familiar with you? Because advertising they're already doing, and the more familiar the consumers are, the more likely they are to convert when they receive our ad, because they're not hearing it for the very first time. They're already getting advertisements from a brand that they know and trust. So it definitely shortens the conversion cycle.
Very good.
All right. Well, we appreciate you sharing this, Rob. Again, thank you everybody for being on the call. We hope you have a great weekend.
Bye.